In Eastern Oregon, the hunting seasons start about the beginning of August. We have bear season, then antelope season. At the end of August, we have archery, deer, and elk. And then the end of September, beginning of October, we have deer seasons. And then the end of October into the beginning of November. And later, we have some elk seasons. The majority of the elk seasons going on. Right now, I'm scouting for a longer elk season that runs October 1 to March 31st. So there's lots of driving around scouting, looking for those tracks. This area here has about a month before it goes into a road closure, so I'm hoping to cut some tracks in here and get into some elk. But so far, I'm not finding anything. Lots of driving, lots of stopping, lots of looking. Nothing though.
Well, it's a little bit of a slow morning this morning. Power went out just before we got up. It had been flickering all night, but finally went out for good. So, took a little bit longer. Had to go outside, get the propane heater warmed up, get some coffee warmed up, or actually some water, and then came back in here and used the coffee press. So we got our coffee. I got everything packed so that so everything's out in the truck, and I think we just need to put Lady away. Lady, you know what's coming up. You got to go outside, poor girl. Yep, and then we're gonna hit the road. You ready? You ready to go? You think we're going to play ball, but we're not. Sorry, kid. Go on in. I know, kid. You got to stay today. Okay? I'm going to go try to get an elk. Little doggy door's open. It's over there. You can go inside and stay warm. See you later, baby. Oh, better let chickens out. Had quite a bit of wind the last few days. It wasn't as bad last night as it was the 2 days prior, but still been pretty bad. I don't know if someone hit a power pole or a tree came down or what happened, but obviously we don't have power. It's a pretty closed system. It's a pretty small system. So it takes them a little bit of time to get out here and get power restored. I was thinking about taking the sled today, this little cart, and if I get anything I could pull it back, but I've got another game cart that'll probably work just as well. Some pretty good tires. I want to keep that hay covered up for now. So here we go. No, if I mentioned the temperature this morning. It says it's 28. It had a feels like 17 sometime last night when I got up and stoked the fire. So gonna head out and get down the road. It's gonna take about 45 minutes to an hour to get to where the elk are. They've been coming down into a field. It's a cow elk tag that runs from October 1st until March 31st. Pretty much it's a damage tag to run these elk back out of farmers' fields. So it's a pretty generous area and pretty generous time to get one. So I'm going to go try to get one.
Well, here we go. Blah, 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 blah. The audio on this was terrible. In fact, it's unusable. So here I go. I'm out where those elk were seen. They've been crossing through here, and I'm out here glassing. It's about 15 degrees, so it's actually kind of hard to talk. Um, so far, though, I've been glassing for a while. I've only seen deer and no elk. So I'm going to keep working this area and trying to see if this is just all rolling hills of lava and sage. And so you kind of got to keep working from one hill to the next valley and keep looking. It's all in a road closure and you can only walk out here. So we cross these elk tracks for that ridge. There's a whole bunch of them there, and they were moving downwind, which is not the direction that it would have been going. So I kind of circled around and then crossed them again. And this way. For that ridge, so I want to go take a look and see how far they've gone. Wind's died down a little bit, but it's still really cold. And just like that, they are gone. I made it up over the next ridge, which allowed me to glass quite a ways out there, and they're no longer in the area. That's several miles across there, so to hike that would take quite a while. Um, and I have to get to work tomorrow, so I am running out of time today. Work is always getting in the way of good hunting. I followed those tracks for another mile and a half or so through the next valley and up into another one and through it. And as you can tell, it's still windy. They were still heading north. I am out of time, and I also have someone who's interested in my trailer, so I gotta head back home and show that. Anyways, I'm just hiking about 3 miles back to the truck and trying to get home. See you guys later. Hello, it is March 6th. We've had about 2 days of snow. It snowed 9 to 12 inches in the last 2 days. So I'm out trying to still get an elk. And I've been looking around trying to find their tracks to see where they've crossed the road, to kind of get an idea what area that they are in. So far, nothing. Did get some word that they were down in the L's, capital L, a bunch of L's in the road down in this area. So I'm down here looking around right now. I'm pushing through quite a bit of snow, but so far the Tundra has been handling it pretty well. That and some mud holes back there. So we're just trying to figure out where they're at. So I'm gonna head down to this next overlook where I can glass for quite a bit. I was glassing back over here. Didn't really see anything that interested me, so hopefully I cut wherever the big herd is, cut their tracks and or spot them while I'm glassing. So we'll keep trying. Deer. Well, the hazards of driving through the snow, when you can't quite tell what you're driving through, is sometimes you get off the road and then you hit something really hard. Anyways, everything jumped in the cab. Evidently there's a ledge there, so didn't do any damage, but it was a wake-up call. Had to clean up my coffee. So anyways, I guess that's part of hunting. Still looking for elk. Lots of desert out here. So far though, nothing. Lots of snow to be able to see, you know, black and brown. But just, I don't know. They're out there somewhere, I guess. The hard part is that some of this sagebrush can be over 8 feet tall. So you really have to spend a lot of time, which I've been doing. Trying to see if there's any elk out there. Anyways, we'll keep trying. Well, this is the freshest sign I've found. Quite a few went through here in about 3 different spots, all heading east. There is some snow in their tracks. So it probably stopped snowing around midnight last night, so maybe, I don't know, sometime last night they came through. But you know, they can keep going. They could be miles and miles away. But I'll keep looking. I'm gonna get up here to a spot where I can try to get over the ridge up there and just glass all that. Now that's pretty darn cool. I'm hiking around out here looking for a vantage point where I can see the elk. Something's been staying in here. Gonna see a little bed's been made up there where it's pushed stuff out. So no tracks in the snow, so nothing recent. It's got a vent hole in the back. You could have a nice fire going back there and not smoke yourself out, and it's pretty dry, all things considered. Kind of cool. All right, back to looking for the elk. So I spooked some elk. Probably 10 minutes ago now. I've just been hunkered down, seeing if there's anything trailing, and unfortunately the wind has picked up and it's in completely the wrong direction. I can feel it on my back. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do at this point. I'll probably try to make another big circle and see if I can come back into them. Well, it turned out those elk were actually deer. I saw them, they ran like elk, they didn't hop. And they were pretty light colored on their hides. So I went down and was able to find their tracks and where they were hopping. And of course, their tracks were small like deer. So those elk are still further down. They're probably over in the farmers' fields by now. Haven't gone through over 12 hours ago. Anyways, had to try. And I also walked right into where a whole group of deer were bedded down. Their beds were all fresh. The snow was melted down to the dirt. So I'm hiking back up and out of here. I think I'm about 200 or 300 yards from the truck. So I'm gonna keep going and make my way over this mountain, down around the other side, and see if I can see anything down there. There's the truck, right around the corner. Evidently, it's a lot worse out here than I thought. Extreme fire danger. All this snow. Must be some dry trees. My Overlook, but there's so many juniper out there, you wouldn't be able to see an elk if you tried. It's so thick with juniper. There's the fire tower. Pretty amazing what they can do now with today's technology. Remotely roll up the windows. They've got cameras situated that can see for miles, detect smoke for miles. It's pretty amazing technology. You can camp up here probably any time, but certainly now and during the summer. If it's smoky during the summer, it's kind of difficult, because you can't really see anything. But boy, this time of year, it's just beautiful. We'll see what happens. So elk season was a long season and constantly interrupted, and it was difficult to get out. And when we did get out, every time we got out there, the elk had moved on and we were a day behind. I was out there the other day and 168 elk were in the area. I saw them first thing and paralleled down a ridge with them, but couldn't get in less than 800 yards or so. And so kind of went out and I regrouped and I found where half of the herd had gone off to, and they were all bedded down, but it was just miles. I could see them from 3 miles away and they could see everything coming up to them. So I went back in and I snuck in behind them, and where I thought they were, they weren't. I was probably, I don't know, like 400 yards off, and unfortunately that put me upwind of them. When I came over the rim to find them, they weren't there and they were behind me, and they ran. I didn't even hear them. That's how elk are. They're quiet, big beasts, but man, they can be so quiet and slip out and you'll never even know it. So I ended up being able to find where they were, and I'd picked the wrong spot to crest over the ridge. And anyways, there's a few days left, but I am running out of time. I have a lot to do here at the house, and so got a bunch of things to do, but it's just kind of nice to sit and enjoy the sun, enjoy the quiet, enjoy the ducks and the geese. We will see you guys. Can't even hear me in the wind. I can hardly talk. So see you later. See you all later. I was able to find where they're hopping and skipping, and there, of course, we're really skipping.